Hello, 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 and good evening. I'm so glad you guys are joining in tonight. We are actually going to cover a couple of different things tonight, but the main thing is going to be the mobile apps. As everyone knows, we are currently in a bit of a selling frenzy because it is the infamous Q4. So with that being said, we here at eCom Sellers Academy want to make sure that you are able to capitalize in as many ways as possible. And so that means that we're going to show you additional ways to sell in addition to all the other wonderful training you've been getting. So I'm going to go over some of the mobile apps. We'll also cover, I don't know if you're familiar with Facebook Marketplace and the different groups online that you're able to sell in, but tonight we'll probably only have time to get to a few of these. So let her rip. So we want everyone to be able to sell stuff. And so we talk a lot about going out and finding things to sell. We talk a lot about selling things through wholesale marketplaces and finding things that you can go out and scan and do retail arbitrage, which is my favorite thing to do. But if you are wanting to sell stuff, then we're going to show you tonight how to sell your own stuff. And because these are apps, you'll be able to do this from your phone. There's a lot of different things that have to be taken into consideration, but I'll give you a quick tip here. Whenever possible, if you can get cash when you actually give someone the item, that's going to be your best option. Although a lot of the apps and a lot of the platforms will allow you now to accept other forms of payment. That's going to be entirely up to you. Facebook has its own selling, or what do you call it, payment platform built in, as well as a few of these others. I know 5 Mile has a wallet. Let Go is one of those that you do pay in cash. But as we go forward and go through some of them, I'm going to use this disclaimer, but use your best judgment in determining how you want to get paid. The object is to actually get paid. There's so many people out there that are spending time and energy trying to figure out how to get your things without paying for them. Anytime I can actually ask someone to pay me in cash, that's usually what I will do. So we're going to tell you how you can sell some things right from your little old smartphone. So there's a growing number of apps and sites that are coming up, so it's making it a lot easier to sell online. If you have had any difficulty in finding things, as people like to tell us they can't find every time we make suggestions or whatever, I'm restricted in that category on Amazon. I'm restricted in that for that brand. I can't sell this or I can't sell that. If you have items, especially the tips, the great tips that you get in eCom Sellers Academy, you find those items and you want to actually be able to sell them, there are a number of ways that you can actually do that. A few of them that we will cover are 5 Mile, Let Go, OfferUp, and Mercari. There are a number of additional ones, and as we go forward, if there's specific things that you guys want to see, or if there's something that you've been using that you have questions about, feel free to post questions in the group and we will try to address those as the training goes on. But tonight I'm going to cover what I can. So the growing number of sites makes it easier to sell online, and the growing number of people using these sites makes it a lot easier to find buyers online. I often talk about how long I've been selling online. So when I talk about 20 plus years, that puts me in the archaic days of Craigslist and eBay. Those used to be some of the only sites that you had to actually be able to offload some of the things you had around the house. But now when I get things back, oftentimes, I don't know if any of you were available for our training about capitalizing or optimizing your listings on Amazon. But when I have to go through and try to optimize my inventory and have things sent back to me, you have a waiting period before you can send those things back in. So these sites are some of the ways that I will actually start to get rid of things that I pulled back from Amazon, things that they've either restricted me on after it got up there. When I get those items back, I can find many, many, many buyers online for my same item. So let me go through the list. Most of these were very recent numbers. They may not be exact, but 5 Mile has about 15 million users. It was actually founded in Dallas. And so a lot of those are in the Dallas area, but they are very quickly expanding. You may or may not have 5 Mile in your 5 mile radius of where you live, but 5 Mile is now available in most of the major cities. Most of those major areas you're going to be able to find and use that app. Let Go has 25 million users, and they tout themselves as being the largest online selling site. OfferUp has about half of that at 12 million. Mercari has tons and tons of downloads, but the statistics say that only about 30% of those people are actually still using the site. It's one of my favorites, but Mercari says they have about 6 million. And if you are on Facebook, like so many of us are, Facebook actually has 800 million users. Just wow. The thing is, we don't know how many of them even know about the Facebook Marketplace and how many of them go to the Facebook Marketplace to buy things. So as we go forward in the training and we talk about some of the groups, that will give you a better way to kind of figure out, what's in your area. But just know that there's a ton of opportunity to actually sell on Facebook. So why would you want to sell on any of these apps? As we mentioned, we're here to help you make money. And so if you need to make some extra cash, you can actually sell items on these sites, and many of them have referral programs where you can either get points or rewards for referring people to use these apps. As far as we know, everyone can use some extra cash to either pay bills or buy inventory to implement some of the other training that we're going through. Nicole has done a great job of telling you all the ways that you can get started if your desire is to sell on Amazon with little to no money. And here is yet another one. You can use the things around your house. You can use the things that you already have. You can use items that you've bought and never used. You can use the items to sell online, and when you get those funds, you will be able to buy inventory from the bolos that we give you, from the actual training that we go through to tell you how to find items. When you find those items, we don't want you to have the excuse of, I didn't have money to buy inventory. So this is yet another way for you to fund all of that sourcing that you need to do to make sure that you are successful in Q4. If you have inventory, as I've already mentioned, and it has been returned to you, or if it just didn't get sold and you pull it back on your own, you can sell those same items, locally or on one of these mobile apps and get rid of it that way. We always say that Amazon is a great way to figure out what's moving, but sometimes there may be on a few of those hot selling items, may be a whole lot of competition because there's a ton of sellers on it. I know I listed a few things just in recent weeks, right at the end of the month, where there were literally no other sellers on the listing. Just me. They were mine. I mean, I didn't create them, but I like to go out and find items where people have run out of stuff and hop on those listings. I was the only one on them, and I went back and checked at the end of that first week. There were about 3 people on it. I went out of town over the weekend. I come back and checked at the beginning of this week, and a few of those had dozens of sellers on them just over that weekend. So if you've got inventory that you haven't sold or something that you need to sell a little faster because of the number of sellers that are on something, or maybe you want to be able to set your own price and not have Amazon's algorithms kind of driving everything, this is a great way to get rid of existing inventory. If you've got a lot of inventory, like many of us as retail arbitrage sellers do, you might have a lot of items in your house that actually count as inventory, or you may have a lot of things that you're just not using or things that you used once or twice. Many of us have acquired a lot of things over the years, and you can make money by selling those items. You can make money, and guess what? You can make space. I'm all about making money, and if I can make a little more space so that I can get some more inventory in of things that are hot selling items that I know are going to move, then that is a great reason and a great way to go on here and sell on these mobile apps. If you are a collector, if you've got items that have come from maybe an inheritance, or if you like to go garage selling or go to estate sales, unique and collectible items sell very well on these apps, because when people are searching for things, a lot of times they may not be the people that will be on some of the larger platforms looking for unique items. People that go to the storage sale, what do you call them? When the storage units, people sell those off. Sometimes you'll find one-off items in there that could be very valuable, but you may not find a listing for it on Amazon, so it may seem like there may not be a market for it in some of those other areas. So it's a great way to sell those types of items. You have items that people are looking for, and if it's something that's old, discontinued, a collectible vintage item, I like to say often, I'm like, if people are looking for something and online to buy and they can't find it, it's probably because it's in my garage. So if you've got items that you've had for a long time, like I said, especially if you were a collector of something, or if maybe one of your parents or grandparents used to collect something and it's boxed up and hasn't been used, this is a great way to be able to find those collectors online, list those items with just a few clicks on your phone and sell them there. A great way to save time. I know I've tried to host a garage sale a time or two, even in this year, because I was about to go through a move, and I decided, especially for some of my larger items, instead of lugging them out, getting the dolly, taking them out, hoping that it didn't rain, and actually having to pull those items back in if they didn't sell, or lowering the price down to all the people that want to come and beat you out of all of your amazing items. I decided that it was going to be a lot easier for me to sell those items in a garage sale when I was going through a lot of the items that I wanted to get rid of before I moved. Instead of going through a garage sale, I decided that selling them on some of these apps was going to work much better for me. And it absolutely did. A lot of the duplicate items and larger items, washing machine, dryer, refrigerator, those kinds of things, there's no way I wanted to take a chance of actually trying to sell those in a garage sale for, pennies on a dollar, when people are actually looking for good working, used appliances, and they will come and pick them up and take them away, for the price that you ask. So again, hosting a garage sale can be time consuming. These apps will allow you to just take a few pictures and upload them to an app, set your price, and off you go. So this is much easier than hosting a garage sale. If you like to go to garage sales and pick up items, I know I have my mom likes to go to garage sales. I'm not much of a garage seller, but when she brings things in, I always say to her, those are the same things that are going to end up in your next garage sale. So if you like to go to garage sales and pick up items, this is a great way to actually list some of those items and get them out if you find that you're not going to use them. So let's talk about 5 Mile. This is an easy one to use. As I mentioned, it started in Dallas, and I guess it's been around now for about nine years or so, but it's growing very quickly. 5 Mile is an easy one, and so just going through the steps of what you need to do. I'll show you a few screenshots a bit later, but it's easy. You go to your app store, or I forget what it's called on the iPhone, the Play Store or the App Store, and install the app. You search for 5 Mile. It'll come up with a little red box with a 5 in the middle. You download the app, you create a profile, and it's as easy as going in there and listing. You tap the list button, it's going to ask you to upload pictures. I think one is required. I don't think you've got to have multiples, but obviously you want to have as many as possible to show your item off. You're going to put that item in a category. You're going to provide a detailed description so people don't have to ask a bunch of questions. Include as much information as possible when you're putting that description up. If there are any defects in it, if there's any issues with it, if it's discolored because it's been sitting in the sun, you want that person to know exactly what they're getting. You don't want to take your time to go out try and meet someone to sell an item only to have them say, oh no, that doesn't look like I thought, or it's much brighter in the pictures, or I don't want it. You want to give them as much information as possible so that when you put the next thing down in your listing, which is going to be your price, so that they understand why you're asking the price that you're asking, and then you can get, in most cases, what you want for it. And if you want to, most of these apps will actually allow you to post the item that you just listed on your own social media page. So if you've got thousands of friends or followers or whatever, they'll actually be able to see, hey, these are people that are, either close to you in proximity or close to you by relationship, that can say, hey, I really want that, or, tell me more about this item that you have. And you can actually list that on your own social media accounts and have an additional way to sell those items. When people come up, it's very easy. You don't have to give out your information, your phone number, your email address. All the communication is going to be done through the app. It works very well. So as people contact you through the app, I have mine set up so that I get notifications. And if I hear my ding, I go over there, someone's asking, is this still available? Or, exactly how, when can I get it, or how do we go about arranging, a pickup or whatever. You can actually negotiate all of those details right there on the app. If the buyer's going to pay you now, they can do that in some of the apps, as I mentioned, through the app's selling payment platform. Or you can say to them, hey, this item is going to be $38. I don't have change, so make sure you bring $38 cash when we, meet up to exchange the item. You're going to agree on an exchange place, the time, the place, and wherever, whatever day you're going to do it on. As I go through some of the other slides, I will tell you how to make sure that you're doing this safely. But there are safe exchange zones in most of the larger cities. If you don't have a safe exchange zone, make sure that you are meeting in a very public place. I like to look for places that have security cameras. Gas stations are good for that. Banks are good for that. I like Walmart because of the foot traffic. The entrance of Walmart is a great place to meet to exchange items. There's going to be a lot of people around, but we just want to make sure, since we are giving you this as an option, that we remind you to be ever vigilant and stay safe. You're going to exchange the item, give them the item that they saw online. You get the money that you negotiated, and then make sure, like some of the other platforms, but make sure you go back and actually review the buyer. You want to build as much credibility as a seller on these apps as possible. People will look to the ratings and ranking reviews of a seller to see, is this somebody that I want to do business with? So make sure that you review that buyer. And when you do that, even when I go to make the exchange, I'll say, hey, this was super easy. I'm going to, review, make sure I put a review up when I get back, and I'd appreciate if you would do the same thing. Some of the benefits of this app specifically is that I think this is one of the things that sets 5 Miles apart from all the others, is that it is actually available as a website. It's online. And so for those people that may not have a smartphone, I don't know how many of those of us are left, but for people that may not have a smartphone, or if you're like me, I get tired of downloading additional apps. So if this is going to be like a one-off thing, someone is looking for something, they need something for a new house, or they need something because their kid's going off to college, or whatever the case may be, it may not be something that they're going to use over and over and over again. And so 5 Mile gives them the opportunity to be able to actually go to the website, type in their zip code, and look for things that are local to them without having to download yet another app. So that's one of the things that I really like about 5 Mile, is it opens it up for everyone to be able to use it. It's not just limited to smartphone users. The other thing about 5 Mile, as I mentioned before, it's super simple to get an item up. You're just going to take a few photos. If you have more than one, you're going to click on, start selling. You're going to click on list and put a description in there. Once you click publish, your item is available for anyone that has that app to see. Now it will actually ask them for, they based on their settings, they put in their zip code, and how far out they really want to go. 5 miles is, a really good distance, for people that are close by that are looking for items and don't want to travel very far. But I think I have mine set out to about 27 miles just because there's several small towns around me, 5 to be exact, like in my county that I'm willing to drive to if I find the right item. So it's very easy for buyers to reach you. As I mentioned, it's all done within the app. You don't have to worry about, trying to catch a phone call or missing a message, over your cell phone. Everything is done through the app. You can set it up to get notifications, and when the buyer reaches out, they know they're getting the person that actually listed the item. And then you have the same ability that they have to go and check, the ratings and that sort of thing. You can do the same thing with the buyers. Safety conscious is what 5 Miles actually prides themselves on. They have an acronym where it's Safe Exchange Area Locator, or SEAL. They also have, like I said, they have misspelling, I'm sorry, in-app payment. They have their own wallet for people that don't want to deal in cash for safety reasons. And as a final note, you can actually choose shipping options if you are averse to actually meeting up with people. So you can set it so that you're actually going to ship these items out. You can set it so the buyer's actually paying the shipping if it's something that you want to expand your reach on, so that you reach more people than just the locals in your area if you're not wanting to meet up with people. So this is kind of what the app is going to look like. As I mentioned, it's a square. I think I'm colorblind, but it's a square with a 5 in the middle, and you can buy and sell locally. Great way to make fast money. And one way to sign up is going to be to actually, use your Facebook account to sign up. That's growing in popularity, where Facebook has all your information. So when you use your Facebook account to sign up for anything, they pull all your information in. I personally don't like to do it that way. I will usually create it with just over here on the right, using my name and email address, and choosing a password and creating an account on my own. I don't link it. In this case, I don't link it to any of the other apps or platforms like Facebook or Google. Only, that's just my preference, but only because for safety reasons, because these are local people, I don't want them to have any way to get to my Facebook profile or to any other information to see, anything else that I might be posting. I just want this to be an exchange of an actual item for payment. And so me personally, that's a personal preference, but you can do that any way you want. It is an option. You can set that up with Facebook account, or you can set that up with your Google account, or you can create your account just using your name and your email. Once you get that done, if you want, you can add a photo. I actually have my mobile apps kind of set up like stores. And so I have an actual profile photo, but in addition to it being my face, I've kind of got, like a background of things that I'm selling, kind of behind me. So it kind of looks like I have a store more or less. But you can upload a photo. You can use a real photo. It makes people feel more comfortable to know that they're dealing with a real person. 5 Mile, as well as some of the others, have ways for you to verify who you are so that people feel safe. But I do suggest that you actually put a photo up. It can be a photo of you and your pet, or a photo of, you in a costume or whatever. I've seen people do that. But having an actual interaction with a real person makes people feel more comfortable, and they're more apt to click on your link and buy from you. The other thing that you can do is, if you've got it in your phone, you can link it to your contacts. So you can see any of your contacts that are actually using the app. And so, close by, people that are near or far or whatever. But again, I've actually used that in the past to say, I've seen somebody post that they may have been looking for something, but if I see that they're on 5 Mile and they're a contact of mine, I can shoot them a text directly and say, hey, I just posted this, go and take a look. especially if it's something that I already know that they're looking for. The other thing that 5 Miles will do is actually tell you who's nearby. And so this is great for buyers. If you post something, they'll tell you that they will say that a brand new seller has come on and these are some of the items, so you can list. I don't know that there's a limit to the number of items you can list. I haven't reached it if there is, but you can list as many items as you want, and then people can actually follow you. So if you've got, especially if you've got inventory and things that you pulled back from some of the other sites like Amazon, then you may be known now, for having small toys or kids' toys or girls' toys or boys' toys. If you list all, as a matter of fact, one of my accounts actually has a name, I can't even remember what it is, but something similar to that. Great gifts for boys or something like that is my actual name on there. I use my actual name, but you can have like a store name. So people can follow you and see every time you upload a new item. So that's a really good benefit of actually the way this is set up. It's set up similar to one of the social media sites, but people can follow you and see the items that you sell, and they can also see anytime you post or list a new item if they're a follower of yours. The other thing that sets 5 Miles apart from some of the other things is they have this thing called Dash. You can get rewards, and this is over here. I don't know if you can see where I'm pointing, but you've got your local items, and then you've got Dash, and Dash is more of an auction. People compare it to eBay, but it's not much like eBay at all. The auctions only last 90 seconds. And so it's a great way to kind of jump in there if something happens to be on auction right when you're logging in. You can snag something for pretty cheap. But you can also get rewards by using that, by bidding on things, and by actually referring people. You can use the rewards to redeem. You can redeem the awards that you use for gift cards. You can actually get an Amazon gift card. I like that you can actually get rewards for referring people to the app. A lot of people may not know about some of these ways to buy and sell. So if you've got local friends that are always looking for something, or somebody's moving, or somebody needs to get rid of things, you can refer people over to using the app, and you can actually get some rewards for that as well. So when you actually go to create the listing, as I mentioned, you're just going to pick an item, you're going to upload your pictures, and you're going to pick a category. You're going to make sure that you write a very detailed description. You're going to put your price down. A condition is actually required in here. They want to know if it's new or used, and if it's been used pretty well, I think the condition is going to read like fair. But you want to make sure that you put as many details as possible in this description. You want to make sure that you have a title that people can actually search for, and then whatever your location is, you want to put that in there so that people can actually find it. And once you publish it, it's a done deal. And so it's very easy to use. That's one of the benefits of it. It's super easy to use. And let me say, it's free. So when you look at, some of the commissions and some of the referral fees that we pay on some of the other platforms, here's an opportunity for you to, as I mentioned, to get rid of some things, to get some extra money that you can use for inventory, and by gosh, not have to pay to do it. So that's going to be the first app that we talked about. 5 Miles is one of the most used. And then we get into they tout themselves as being the biggest mobile app online. So LetGo, as I mentioned, has about 25 million users. And similarly, you're going to do the same thing to get your account set up. So you're going to install the app. You're going to go either to your Play Store or your App Store. Is it the App Store? And install it. You're going to look for it. You're going to type in LetGo. When it comes up, you're going to install it and create a profile. And with this one, instead of, I think, list or sell your item, you're going to just click on sell, same thing, choose a category, upload a photo, add a title and description, and of course, you're going to tell how much you want to sell it for. Again, if desired, you can actually share this on your Facebook page, on your Instagram page. I don't know that this one actually has a link to go to Instagram. I know it does to Facebook. but you're going to be able to actually put that over there and let people know that you've got a new item for sale. You're going to review any offers that come in, and if you want to counter offer or, tell them why you're asking what you're asking, at that point you can negotiate and accept the offer that comes up. And then when you agree on an exchange plan, you're going to tell them, well, I'm available on this time, at this time, on this day. A lot of people may not be available at the same times. Again, I just caution you, make sure you're being safe, make sure you're using, the best possible method for getting this done. If there's a safe exchange zone around you, you can Google those and find them. But when you get it all set up, you're going to set that up with the person. I like to actually, in the app, send the person a message and let them know I'm on the way. I like to remind them, that I'm going out and kind of wait for a response. I don't want to waste my time, energy, money, or gas going out to sell an item and people not show up. But once you get the item sold and get your money, again, you're going to come back. You're going to place a ranking or review for that buyer. And again, I like to tell them before I actually leave the location, hey, this was too easy, I've got more items, make sure you go check them out. And when I get home, I'm going to leave you a review, and I'd appreciate it if you would do the same thing. It's a great way to kind of build up your reputation on these apps, and people will look and see, oh, this person has had, a lot of really good reviews, or, they've had a lot of transactions. And so they'll feel comfortable buying from you, as well as, kind of jumping out there and asking questions about some of the other things you might have. So again, just showing you what the app looks like when you go to actually search for it on the Play Store or in your App Store. You're looking for, usually you're just looking for the what the logo looks like to make sure you have the right app. And then when you get it here, you get it in, you're going to see that it, they advertise it, market it as a way to make money. So you're going to make money selling on Let Go. Again, you can sign up with Facebook or Google, or you can use your email. Again, I like to use my email, but that is a personal preference. They are going to ask for your location because they do, again, allow you to determine how far out you want to go when you're looking for items. So again, I set mine to about just under 30 miles, and that's just because I know the towns around me that I'm willing to travel to, but they're going to want to know your location. So it's okay to go ahead and allow them to use your location just so that they can show you things that are near you and know that that's what other people are doing as well. So on the selling side, they have categories on here. Once you get set up, you've got to pick the categories, but this is just in case you decide to buy items. They're actually going to give you recommendations. But what I like to do is set the categories up for things that I might have around the house, so that when I get the recommendations of things that they're showing me, that I can go and buy, it might actually, jar my memory of things. Oh yeah, you know what? I've got that chair that's sitting over there, but in the back of the room that I'm not using, that I said I was going to cover. It was a project chair, but I haven't done it. And so when someone else posts one of those, it'll kind of jar my memory, and I'll go and post mine around the same time. Or, I'll be able to kind of watch it and see if people are buying, like how much to list it for. So it's a good idea to get some of those personal recommendations, even if you aren't looking to buy right now, and give you an idea of how to price your items, and good ways to get information up as far as listing. If the person has a lot of sales, you can take a look at how they're listing them and what types of keywords they're using in terms of their product description. If they're using a lot of words and they're getting a lot of hits, then that's a good indicator to me. Hey, this person has a lot of sales. Maybe I want to try and mimic, what they're doing in terms of their listing. So that's a good way to get started on that too. But get your recommendations, and it just shows you there's a ton of categories. So, when you're looking for things around your house to sell, this is a great way to get started. When you're first setting the app up, it gives you all of these different categories, and you can think about all the things that you have. So everything from clothes and electronics and furniture, some of the main things to actually being able to sell a vehicle or your phones. And when people upgrade, a lot of times they end up with a drawer full of old phones, but you've got people that will either work on them or people that, use, I like to stay, a couple of versions behind on the phones just because I want to make sure that the bugs are worked out. But home and garden, you might have things that are sitting outside that you're not using that you don't think of as often because you're not outside all the time. But this is a great way to kind of look through the different categories and see, oh yeah, I got a bike that I need to sell. I've got my sons over here that are constantly going through things, outgrowing things or whatever. But I just mentioned, actually it's been long enough for me to already have it listed, but I've got a few bikes that I need to list and get sold. But again, just an idea. This will just give you an idea of things around your house, around your yard, or around, your property that you might want to be able to get up and go find them, get them cleaned up, take some nice pictures and get them listed. So again, just showing you kind of what the screenshots look like when you're getting it set up to sell. But you're gonna, as soon as you get it set up, the first thing it's gonna ask you, are you ready to buy or are you ready to sell? So as you can see here, we're getting ready to sell your stuff. You've got your categories here, and then when it asks for your details, their tip is to add at least 3 photos. I think 1 is required, but you want to make sure that you're taking very clear and crisp photos. You want to make sure that people can see the item that you're putting up for sale. If there's any defects to it or if there's any issues with it, you want to make sure that you list those in the condition and you list those in the description. They have an option for you to actually be able to give things away for free if people are actually looking for stuff. You've got a few items that are listed on there for free. They'll be able to go, take a look at your page, see those couple of free items, and they may actually browse a little more and see some of the items that you have for sale. So if you've got some items that you can afford to give away for free, even if it's just, some of the items that we snag up from the Dollar Tree or the dollar store, those sorts of things, it may give you an idea, may give your buyers an idea of, other things that you have. And so I've used that as a selling tactic on more than one occasion where I'll list, I've got a couple of packs of stickers or something like that. But if I've got a ton of items, that are around unicorns, and I've got 1 pack or 2 packs of unicorn stickers, someone's looking for unicorns if they come across those items. So in my negotiations, I can say to them, I've got a ton of other items, that have unicorns or around unicorns. If you're interested, go take a look. And they'll have an opportunity to go and take a look before, you meet up with them somewhere at a, local gas station or Walmart, give them the free item that they may have been looking for. Again, you're going to put, after you put your category in there, you have an opportunity to list it on Facebook, and you want to make sure that you've got your location in there so the locals can find you. So just overall, the recommendations for using the mobile apps are going to be very similar to, the recommendations that we give you when you're listing items for sale anywhere. A good recommendation is just that, it's a good recommendation, but we're going to walk you through them just in case. Like I said, if you guys have questions, feel free to post those in the group. And as this training finishes and I'm getting prepared for some of the other apps, if you've got specific questions about these few, post them in there and I'll answer you directly. But you want to take really good pictures, very bright pictures, as I've mentioned. You want to make sure that people can see exactly what they're getting. And if your item is bright and you've got clear, clearly focused, great pictures, your item's going to sell faster. People can see exactly what they're going to get, and it doesn't look like it's dingy, run down, dirty, or like it's been misused in any way. Like I said, if there are issues with the condition, just make sure you list that in the description. Take as many pictures as the app will allow. Like I said, some of them have, I think all of them have a minimum. You've got to actually have a picture of your item. But whatever the max is for the app, take as many as you can, upload those, and then make sure that you're actually bringing attention to any items that have an issue. If there's any marks or tears, any issue with the item, you want to make sure that you are actually showing those areas of issue in your photos, because it will reduce any negative feedback that you might get when I'm asking people to go ahead and leave me a rating, or to send me, when they get back, to go ahead and review the transaction for me as a buyer. I want to make sure that I've been completely forthcoming with them about the item that I'm giving them, so they don't get it home and try to, flip it over, use it, or find something that I did not disclose. In your descriptions, make sure that you give as much information as possible. You don't want to spend all your time sitting on an app, going back and forth, answering questions about the item that you could have put into the initial description and save that time. It'll help your item sell faster, and it'll save you a lot of time with not having to have the back and forth. Make sure that you price your item appropriately. You don't want to sell it for pennies if it's worth something, and you don't want to try to overprice it and have people come to your page and just keep scrolling because it's clearly overpriced. If you're using an app, I know in the groups it's available. If you're using an app, that will allow you to kind of refresh and push your item back up to the top. Most of the apps are free, and so if you want to showcase your item or highlight your item, that's how they make their money. You can actually boost the post in 5 miles and then let go. And you can, pay a fee to do that for a number of days, 24 hours or 48 hours. But if you move your items back to the top of the category, someone that's just hopping on the app or someone that hasn't been on there looking for a few days has a better opportunity to see it. If you actually highlight the item or pay to showcase the item, it's going to be at the top of the page no matter who logs in. So just an idea, if you have something that you need to move pretty quickly or something of value that's worth actually showcasing for a few days. And above all things, we want to make sure that you are being safe. Again, this is something that we're recommending as another way for you to be able to get rid of some items, to be able to get some additional capital, be able to make some extra money, especially during this time of year. But we want to make sure that you choose a safe location, and never, ever, never, ever give any personal information. If you choose to buy on any of these apps, make sure that you're trying to verify that person as much as possible. Most of the apps have a way for the person to verify, whether it's through Facebook. Some of them actually use photo IDs. I mean, it gets pretty technical. But I also want to encourage you, check the person's reviews. Just because they have not gone through some type of lengthy verification process, if they've got a number of reviews where people have been pleased, with doing business with them, especially as a buyer, again, use your best judgment. But just because someone hasn't gone through all of the steps that the app actually offers, it doesn't mean that they're not someone that you can do business with. Just use your best judgment. And so overall, with using these apps, there's a few things that you can know as far as the safety and ease of use. So most of these apps that we're going to be talking about, the buyers and the sellers have a way to be verified. They have profile pictures and ratings, and they can do that based on, past purchases, things that they've bought, as well as past sales, things that they have sold. And so it's a little bit less anonymous than using something like the age-old Craigslist, where anybody could put an ad up and you didn't know exactly who you were dealing with, kind of dealing like Craigslist was meant to be, like a classified ad. But just that in and of itself, knowing that you're dealing with an actual person with a picture and that other people have dealt with, can make you feel a little bit safer, just as a buyer and a seller. Again, I encourage you to use your best judgment. If it doesn't feel right, trust your gut, and always, always meet in a safe place. It's easy and convenient to have a conversation right in the app with most of these. And again, it's really great because you don't have to give out any personal information. You don't have to give anyone your phone number. You don't have to give anyone your email address. And me personally, even when I'm going to meet someone, I like to show up a few minutes early, and actually, like I said, if I can meet them at the entrance of a very public place like a cafe or a bank, or I use Walmart quite a bit, but in that case, they don't even know what kind of car I'm driving. So there's no chance of them following me. There's no chance of them, seeing me somewhere and thinking, that they know me from one of these apps. So again, just use your best judgment. Finding places to meet and exchange, we've covered it a few times, but I'll just go over it. There are police stations that will set up times in maybe just a corner, but they will set up times and places, usually in their lobby or in their parking lots, that they call, like safe stations. But you can actually agree to meet there. Many of them have cameras aimed directly at those meeting spots. And again, if you're meeting inside of a police station, whether it's in the lobby or, a small area that they've set aside just for that purpose, you can be pretty sure that, there's not going to be any real danger to you in the police station. Anything's possible, but that's a good place to start if you don't know of any place to go, or if you're just getting started selling on the apps and you have any and you're uncomfortable making these sorts of exchanges. It's good to make sure that you have a safe place to go. You can call your local police department and see if they have one of these set up. Cafes are good, again, just because of foot traffic. If you're going to go to a Panera or a corner bakery anyway, pick up a cup of coffee or a donut or piece of pumpkin bread or whatever that may be, that'd be a good time to actually take the item that you're going to sell or exchange, take that with you, and know that there's going to be plenty of people around you. Same thing with a bank. I like banks just because they are very public, and most of the time they will have a ton of cameras, at the entrance or wherever you're going to meet. And so, right at the entrance of a bank is a good place. And if you can't find anything in your area, there is a website that is dedicated solely to this. Not every city is going to be listed for obvious reasons, but places that do have something set up, you can go to safetradestations.com and see if there are local places that have set something up specifically for this purpose. And again, just as a tip, look for places that have a lot of cameras, or look for places that have a ton of foot traffic. You can go to any of those places and make the exchange right in front of a camera, or make the exchange right at the entrance, knowing that there's going to be plenty of people there. That should make you feel a little bit safer. So Let Go, as well as, I know 5 Mile has a system that will allow people to rate you and write reviews about you as a seller. I put this in here simply because not only can you create a listing with a photo, Let Go will allow you to create a listing of a video. And, it kind of looks like a trailer. I haven't used that feature yet, but I've noticed that the sellers that get really high ratings, if you go to their page and look at some of their listings, there are, a couple of pretty cool videos. So when you're looking at the fact that the system allows others to rate you and that they can actually write reviews, you want to use every option that's available to you just to make sure that your credibility as a seller is going to be as high as possible. So when you're looking at the apps and you're looking at the features that are available to you, make a really good conscientious effort, to get your ratings up as high as possible. You don't have to use all of the platforms. We tell you that all the time, even with the larger platforms that we train on more regularly. You don't have to use all of them. Find one that you like and stick with it. Figure out the ins and outs of it, what features are available, what kind of makes it click for you, whether that's the rating system or the safety features. I like 5 Miles because when I first got started selling with the online apps, they had that seal kind of built in, and that's the safety exchange area locator. So you can actually look in the app and see if there's a place nearby that, has kind of a safe exchange place. when I was first getting started on these apps, that was really important to me. Now, well, I've moved since then, but now there's more, places around me that I'm more familiar with, that I'm, a-okay with actually setting something up and making an exchange. So just know that if there are features that are built into each of the apps, everything that works for someone else may not work for you. So play around with them, put up a couple of listings and see what kind of feedback you get, see what kind of traffic you get around those items. If you get some questions, it'll kind of help you tweak your listing so that you need to include more information. But just know that these buyers are going to be able to rank and rate you, just like we are worried about our performance on Amazon, just like eBay has a rating system that can affect your sales. These apps are going to be just the same way. So you want to make sure that you're giving the buyer a really good experience as far as, your listing, that it's actually accurate with what they're getting, and then that are prompt when you're meeting someone, and, everything is as you said it was. So just be aware of the rating system. So I know that, like I said, people use different apps for different purposes, and people have their own preferences for different reasons, but OfferUp gets a lot of feedback about the ease of use. People like to use OfferUp because it's super quick. You can get a listing up in a couple of minutes, super quick to do, and it's an easy app to use. 5 Miles, same thing. It's a great way to buy something nearby. They built that into the app so that, when you're looking at items, when people are browsing, they know that that item is within a certain, range, a certain distance. And so, they don't have to ask about shipping, and they don't have to ask about, any of that. But I like to say, if it's a larger item, even if it's not a huge item, but, if it's a picture or something that is larger than, something that people would normally put in their front seat, I like to say to them, this is a larger item, give them the dimensions, and let them know, you have to bring cash when you come, and you're going to be responsible for getting this item to your house. I don't do drop-offs, and I don't deliver. So you have to make sure that they're able to actually get the item when they come to pick it up. But it's a great way to be able to buy something from close by, because you are able to set the distance, the diameter around your location, how far out you're willing to go. And then with Let Go, one of the things that they pride themselves on is that they have a lot less spam. They're one of the larger sites in terms of users, but they have a lot less spam. And because they don't have the shipping options in there, you don't have the hassles. And so, a lot of people don't want to deal with shipping. We ship all the time with the platforms that we use, but for people that don't want to do the shipping, especially for some of these smaller items or items that they may not be getting, huge profit on, they've gotten some use out of it, but not necessarily, in it to sell it for a lot of profit, just trying to get some of the cash flow. But you don't have to worry about, having to ship the item off. So if there are others, and I mentioned, as we go forward, I will continue to focus on some of the apps that I personally use. And I mentioned Etsy, and I mentioned, I haven't been an Etsy user, but I do have an account. But I mentioned Mercari and Etsy. I know we have some people on our leadership that use Poshmark. But if there are other apps, because some of them are actually, kind of area specific. When I go into the App Store and look, when 5 Miles comes up, there's a ton of other ones that I'm not familiar with. They don't have as many downloads, but some of them have pretty high ratings. But if there's a mobile selling app that you are using, or that you've heard of, that you have questions about, or something that we didn't cover, we just ask that you actually give us that information. So we want you to help us make our info even better by joining the pages, joining the Facebook pages. We have a whole community. And if you're not in the mastermind group, we're asking people, just give us some additional information, but join the community, be active, give us information, ask questions, let us know what it is that we can do to help make the community better, to give you information that you're actually going to use. We all have, as part of the leadership, we all have our favorites. We have favorite platforms. We have our favorite stores. But this is what being in this community is all about. It's about sharing information, and everything is better together. So if you have information that we haven't covered, if you know of something or have questions about things that we haven't covered, the best way for us to know that we're bringing value to you is for you to give us some feedback. So join the community and be active. So we hope that you will use some of these tips to go out on the mobile apps and try to make some additional money. Again, this is a great way to get some cash flow, some additional capital, to be able to source some of those great items, those hot items that we've been training on inside of our groups. But these are just some of the better known apps. Like I said, we're only covering right now the ones we know, or some that we know our other leadership or team members are using. But there's others out there that you use that you would like for us to cover. Please send us a message in the group and let us know. The free Facebook group, as we've mentioned before, is eCom Sellers Mastermind. If you haven't hopped over there and joined that one, please do that. There's a ton of great information in there. We share information across several groups, but this is one that we've set up specifically for the purpose of us having a community of like-minded people that are selling online. Things will come up and people will ask questions, and we encourage you. If you've got a question, to post it in there. But if you've got an answer to someone's question, they're not just asking us. They're asking anyone that can help. People are looking for answers. People are looking for assistance. People are looking for help. People are looking for, I want to call them battle buddies. But if you've got information, don't hesitate, to try to put it out there to help others. We've got some great interaction in our group where people are doing some awesome things and actually posting them. We hope that you take advantage of that. But on the mastermind side, like I said, there's a whole group of people. Some have been selling online for a very long time. They're just looking for a place to be able to kind of park and have a community of people that they know. When we talk about selling online, sometimes your family's not, super supportive. Sometimes, your best buddy doesn't know anything about going out and buying things to sell online. So if you're looking for, even if it's just a shopping buddy, there's people from all over the country in these groups. So join up, link arms with somebody, and actually help make these communities even better. And we thank you for being a part of eCom Sellers Academy. We want you to know that your success matters to us. So if you have questions, by all means, please post those in the group and give us an opportunity to help. Thanks for joining us tonight.